Well, periodically there have been articles published about the assets of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, that is the spiritual empire that he controlled. It's been valued in the billions. I've heard reports of anywhere from $3 billion to as high as $9 billion. It seems that Maharishi may have the dubious distinction of being the most successful purported cult leader of the 20th century. I mean, he owned just a far-flung empire of real estate assets, apartment buildings, urban real estate, properties that were in the line of freeways that were built, agricultural property, universities. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, the list of assets that he accumulated, much of which really was real estate. Real estate that was developed methodically by the organization over a period of decades. They were notable in buying urban properties that were run down, making promises that they would somehow be revitalized, refurbished, and then simply letting them rot, and then waiting until a good point in the market and then flipping the property for a huge profit. The development of the real estate portfolio was closely reported by the press throughout the United States and around the world. Maharishi also acquired historical and important properties in Europe. And really what he assembled was a very valuable portfolio of real estate properties that were developed over decades. And they were fueled by the cash flow that was coming in from the courses and from the wealthy patrons that he groomed. Well, I think the danger of TM is that it can be hazardous to your health. There have been a number of people that were deeply involved with TM that sued TM. And Maharishi chose to settle out of court with them. They claimed, and I met some of them, that you can meditate too much, that if you follow all the teachings of TM and you go through their exercises, you can become a kind of meditation junkie, and ultimately you can't control your floating states. So you're in and out of trance. Because what this meditation technique is essentially is self-hypnosis or tranceinduktion, which can relieve stress if used in very modest amounts. But if you excessively use it, which many of the TMers do, it can cause you to really kind of float in and out of reality even when you don't want to. In addition to that, there can be a huge sucking sound at your bank as your money is being funneled into the organization, because this is an organization very much like Scientology that charges a great deal of money for its courses and its training. So I've had complaints that people just simply ran out of money. Also, it can put an enormous amount of stress on a marriage or a family. When a spouse is involved with TM and let's say their wife or husband decides, I don't want to be involved, or for that matter, their children are not interested in being involved in TM and the parents are deeply involved. So what I've received complaints about are divorces, rifts, estrangements in families as a result of the commitment to TM, which supersedes a commitment to a spouse, a commitment to children and family. Well, just lately I was emailing with someone and her father is dying, and he gave a great deal of money to transcendental meditation, and he thought that transcendental meditation would prolong his life. I think he's disappointed. I think he's substantially poor. I think, from what I hear, it caused a kind of breakdown in the family as far as communication and closeness in the family. So I think that's kind of a heartbreaking story. The David Lynch Foundation is really nothing more, in my opinion, than a front group for TM. And in my opinion, TM is a belief system. It is a spiritual, religious belief system. And the idea that the Lynch Foundation wants to go into public schools in the United States that are supported by taxpayers, in my mind, it's a violation of church and state separation. I think that their ultimate goal is to cultivate and recruit children And I don't think that it's really so much about meditation as it is growing the movement and really beginning with children, cultivating their interest in TM so that ultimately they will be supporters of the movement. My opinion of David Lynch is that he has become to TM what Tom Cruise is to Scientology and what Madonna is for the Kabbalah Center, and that is its #1 promoter, its most visible celebrity booster. And what, in my opinion, what comes along with that is added scrutiny, and you should expect criticism. You should expect people to question what you're doing and what you're promoting. I mean, it's not just a one-way street, and Mr. Lynch should understand that the same First Amendment in the United States Constitution that guarantees people that follow Maharishi freedom of expression, freedom of belief, it also guarantees freedom of speech for the critics of TM. And I think to a certain extent, like, again, Tom Cruise and like Madonna and other celebrities that become involved in groups that have been called cults, they receive preferential treatment. I mean, the way a David Lynch is treated is not the way just any grunt from India that's working at Maharishi U in Iowa is treated. So I think for him, in his kind of cocooned world of celebrity and special handling, it's different. For him, TM is all, warm and cozy and comfortable, but it isn't that way for everyone. And if he breaks out of that cocoon that he's in, he can see that.